All right, we're getting ready to make a cut, so we got our safety gear on, huh, Moose? You ready? You're not quite used to those yet, are you? Let's go over here so you're safe. Things are not looking good in the Montana garage right now. I got crap scattered everywhere. Get rid of all these damn tile tools. Anywho, we are now at the point where we're trying to figure out or start messing with these rear down bars. So here's the bar, and yeah, they got, hello, more stickers and tape all over them, so that'll be fun. I'll get to remove that. So I happen to have these hacked in speaker holes from way back in the day. Unfortunately, they're not hacked in exactly the right spot. But this is something that's gonna happen, something like what's gonna happen here. So I can't quite get to the main hoop because I need to elongate that hole. And then this is gonna have to cut a hole down here, and this will tie into the frame. The frame is pretty much right next to the wheel tub there, so I gotta move this hole over and forward. So this is probably gonna land right in here somewhere. And then I'll have to fish mouth or whatever it's called, the front of this bar to tie into that bar. So I'm gonna start by opening up that hole. I was gonna try to like cut the whole thing out there and then make a nice little hole for it to go through once I knew where it was, but I think I'm just gonna hack it out for now. If I lower this down to try to do the welding, that's gonna have to have a little play anyways. So I think I'll just hack it out, and then maybe I'll patch it with sheet metal a little better once the bar's in place, or maybe it'll just get covered with package tray or whatever, and we'll call that good. So we'll see. Let's I guess I got to protect these windows somehow a little bit, and then cut a hole in there, bigger hole. Got that little notch cut in there, so now we can kind of see a little better about how this is going to go. So I need to, I guess, next figure out how I'm going to fish mouth or, you know, contour that this bar to meet the main hoop, and then I guess once we do that, then we'll see exactly where this is gonna fall. And even before I do that, I guess I could cut, I'm probably just gonna cut a square out of there because I gotta have enough room to weld the bar, I guess, to the frame. And then we'll have to patch that back in later too. So I'm trying to decide how big of a hole I wanna cut in the front of the trunk here. I have to cut, I can't just put, you know, a 1 3/4, 1 7/8 hole for it to land in the right spot, because I have to be able to have access to clean the frame and weld it. So I guess I'm thinking about cutting like that square-ish size out. That should be right over the frame, and then that way I can see exactly where it's gonna land. And then, much like I said for up here, I'm just gonna have to patch that back in after the roll bar is welded up. So although I'd rather just cut a little hole, I think that's the way I'm gonna have to do it. Well, at least my calculations were right, and there is a frame under there. So let's throw the bar back in and see what it looks like now. All right, I was thinking that sheet metal was a little closer to the frame, but it's, you know, you can see I got a good inch or so down to the frame. So it means it dropped in so far, it kind of falls forward. So we got to cut it further forward because I'm basically to the bar, but obviously I got to get closer for the fish mouth action or whatever. So we'll have to open that up a little more, or try to open this bend up a little bit, which it says you may need to do. So I'll check out that idea too. It is another new day out here in the Montana garage, and I got the old Try 5 Mob hoodie on because, well, it's like 32 degrees in here, and I'm out of propane. Not only am I out of propane, but the propane bottle is on the outside of the shop back in that corner. And when they built my shop, they didn't really put it high enough. So whenever we get a little bit of meltage, I get water coming in here. Like you can see this ice on the ground. That's where water is starting to come in. So there's like ice all the way around the edge of my shop. And yeah, I learned my lesson last year to make sure I sat the propane bottle on something. But the last time I put it back there, I guess I didn't learn my lesson because I didn't set it on something. And now it's frozen to the ground and it's empty, and I can't move it to fill it because it's frozen to the ground. So I'll either have to chisel the ice out of there or melt it with a propane torch. That's probably not a very good idea, is it? So for today, I'm just gonna be cold until I figure that out. So yesterday ended with a little bit of disappointment, and let me show you why. Working on the the rear struts, I think they're called. I did some fancy fish mouthing just with the grinder, and I got it, you know, pretty goodish. And so then once I got that fish mouth, you know, that where it goes, and it fits pretty tight. The only problem is Now I'm right against the back seat of that brace, and I still have to go down another, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch to get, I mean, I'm on the frame, but there's, to flatten it out, I gotta grind the bottom of the bar. So that's gonna drop down, and then this is gonna be like right in the back of the back seat. So to me, this bar is not long enough, and this is a kit that I'm sure they always make them this long, and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. If I were to plate the floor and set it on top of the floor, then it would probably work, because as I lift that up, you know, that changes the angle, and then it moves it back further. But as I'm trying to tie it into the frame, that drops down, and boom, it's barely gonna clear the back of the seat. So that's not gonna work for me. I did get a little bit lucky, and there's a hot rod place here in town called Dark Horse Fabrications. Dark Horse Customs, I think is what it's actually called. They built some pretty cool stuff, and they had some tubing on the shelf and a bender, so they bent up a couple pieces for me. He just ran it a little bit longer, but I'm gonna make it like 3 inches longer on the hoop end and 1 inch longer where it goes down into the frame. And then I think we'll be in the money. And it's not a complete loss, because I will be able to use these pieces for something else. We'll go into that later. Looks pretty good, whatever that's worth. Boy, it looks like the piece I cut off is mostly square. All right, we'll cut the other end, clean these ends up, and then we'll get to fish mouthing. We'll probably test fit it and then fish mouth it. Well, one thing that sucks about making the the bar, I guess it's called longer, is now instead of my nice hole I cut out, I land back here, which is fine. It just created a bunch of extra work for myself. Also, this, I'm gonna be back either right at the very back of that, or I'm gonna have to cut that bigger the other way. But I guess we'll have her dialed in before we do the next side. Win some, you lose some. Maybe we can just fold that back in place. We'll see. All right, here's our test fit. I like this a heck of a lot better. So I'm down to the frame there, through the package tray. I'm not right at the very front edge of it, like right against where the seat's gonna be. So I'm snuck back a little bit. Got a little room to the window still. So you guys got to fish mouth that, which is gonna just move it forward, you know, like a ½ inch or so. So I think we will mark the other bar so we can cut it the same length as it is right here. Assuming the same, you know, same should work on this other side. And then we'll get to fish mouthing and making sure this one, and then final fitting this one. Progress. Slow, but progress. Still cold in here. All right, back in the car. I got the second strut kind of rough fit, so I got them both cut to the same size. I got my hole cut in the trunk. I got an idea where it's gonna notch onto the main hoop. Next thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and notch these two tubes where they hit the main hoop. I am not gonna install these or go any further than that until we actually weld the main hoop fully in place, because I have determined this is, you know, just sitting here, so it's a little low right now, but I do have enough room to get the welder in here to weld these in place. So I'm gonna notch them just to rough fit them, and then we will drop the main hoop down and weld it solid, lift it back up, weld the outriggers, and once that's fully in place, then we will find the permanent home for these guys. It is time to notch some tubing. I, of course, do not have a tubing notcher or any kind of fancy setup, so I just have a death wheel, a grinder with some flap discs, and I got a little die grinder with this little burr wheel or whatever on it. So what I got set up here is, this is one of the straight tubes that came in the kit. This is for if I was not gonna use the back seat, so this would be a back brace piece, and they already have it notched. It comes notched. That's what they gave me, that little notch. So I just have this set up and kind of marked where I'm going to try to recreate that notch. I have this tube laid on here flat so that, you know, this is how 90 degrees to this. So this would be the main hoop in the car. So we're going to be 90 degrees from that. It should be pretty straight, so I should be able to notch them both the same. I shouldn't really need any kind of angle, because I'm going to try to come straight off of that main hoop and keep them both running straight and parallel to each other. So we'll just grab some grinders and sneak up on it the best we can. I did one yesterday, the one that's too short, not because of how I notched it, but just because they made the tube a little too short, for at least how I want to do it. So it seemed to work. We'll try it again. All right, well, that took a while because I was trying to get it probably too good. I don't know if I got it even good enough, but it was close, and I kept messing with it and changing it. So anyways, that's kind of like the one they sent me with, and that's the one I came up with. So they're looking pretty good, both top and bottom. I think we'll call that good enough. Throw it back in the car real quick, just see what that looks like, and then we'll do the other one. All right, so I just got done notching the second pipe, and this time I gave up on the die grinder and I just used the flap disc. Well, I cut it roughly with the death wheel, then I just used the flap disc. And I thought the die grinder would be like more accurate and faster. No, not for me. It took a lot longer, and then there's a lot more fudging around. Just the die grinder, or the flap disc on the grinder, I think gave me a better result, and it was way faster. All right, and we got about the same thing on the bottom down there. So both of our rear struts are notched. They do both have to have some trimming on this, the bottom end that's going to hit the frame. The frame is two-piece frame. It's like two pieces of C-channel on top of each other, so there's like a little hump. So one side to the outside, I think, we'll have to get ground down about 1/8 inch or so. I'll do that when I'm doing the final fitment and actually welding it in place. So I think we're probably done for tonight again. I got to clean up a little bit, and then next time we come back, we will be cutting the outriggers loose, dropping the bar down, the main hoop down, and welding all that solid, putting it back. Then we can carry on with our rear struts. Well, it's another new day out here in the Montana garage, and came out to continue faking my way through this roll bar installation, and got a little problem to deal with first. We're still deep in the grasps of winter here in Montana, and we got plenty of snow outside, and it's still plenty cold, but yesterday it was like 40 degrees for some reason, which was nice. But I think I talked before that I have a little problem with the shop, that they didn't like raise it up enough when they built it. So this is what I get when the snow melts. So we have some flooding to deal with before I get too much work done. It was 40 degrees yesterday. I think it's supposed to be 20 below tomorrow, so go figure. So I'm gonna try to get this, I don't know if I'm gonna squeegee it up or maybe I'll just grab the shop vac and vacuum it up, but unless it melts really slow, this is what I get. Because if you look outside, it just started snowing. Hold on. And we're back. So if you look outside, still got plenty of snow, and it started snowing, so it's covering it up some, but all along the whole edge of my shop, this is what it looks like. Water and ice. So yeah, I don't know what, there's no real way for me to drain it out of here, so each year I just gotta kind of, some years I don't get any water because the snow melts slow or we don't have enough snow, and some years it's worse than others. But we still got a lot of snow out there, and if it melts slow, we'll probably be all right. But if we get a lot of warm days, we're gonna have some water issues. But just because it's gonna get super cold and I don't want to turn into a skating rink in here, and I just try to keep it cleaned up, we'll get this cleaned up one way or another, and then we'll get back to work on the roll cage. That's why we're here, right? Let's get this dang car done. Well, we put a big dent in it. 4 of these buckets. The only problem is, until it gets colder, it's just coming back in. But I think it's the temperature's dropping out there. That's going to freeze that back up. So trying to get most of it, and then we're really cold for a couple days, so I should probably just do it now. But I need to obviously get whatever I don't want to get wet off of the floor, because as soon as we get some warm weather, she is going to flood in here again. Done screwing around with the water in the shop and moving a few things around, and back to actual working on the roll bar here. And wouldn't you know it, we ran into a little problem. Shocker! I notched the tube to come 90 degrees off of the hoop here, the roll bar. And as you can see, I kind of got this rear strut held in place. I got a level on it. I'm not holding it now, so it's still pretty level. Got it sitting on the frame, coming up through the package tray, and it's gonna hit the roll bar here. Unfortunately, I thought I was gonna hit the roll bar over here, but to keep it square, looks like it's moved a little off square based on that, but I put my little speed square on there, and this is approximately where the tube has to hit. And as you can see, the notch I put in there is not gonna, well, maybe you can't see because I can't hold the camera in the right place. The notch I put in there is not gonna work because now it's on the bend of this tube, and so I gotta notch this far side out quite a bit more. So hopefully I can just I drew a mark on the other side there, and I'm just gonna try to sneak up on it enough to close this gap. I can still move the whole bar forward a little bit if I have to get the notch perfect. So it's I either have to do that, or the notch is actually pretty good if I scoot the bar over here and it's just on the straight part of the bar. But then technically the rear struts are going to be going like that. I can't move it in down there because that's the edge of the frame. I mean, I guess I could put a little outrigger on there too, but I'd rather just hit right on the frame, and keeping it far to the side is probably better. So everything I read says these want to be parallel with each other. So if it's going like that, then the other one can't be parallel. You know, the other one would be going like that. So I guess what I'm going to do is try to make this notch work. And then, so that's going to take quite a bit of fudging around. I'll just have to, you know, grind on it, bring it in, test fit, grind on, test fit, mark, test fit, about 45 or 55,000 times, and hopefully I can get it good enough to weld in place. So that's what I'll be doing for the next 3 or 4 days. I'll check back in later. And we're back. It's been 12 or 15 days as I tried to notch this tube. No, I'm just kidding. It really wasn't as bad as I thought it could have been. I bet you I had to take it in and out maybe 6 times. You know, hold it up there, make a little mark, go over to the grinder, put it back in. I think for considering who's doing the work, I think it turned out okay. So here's the notch we have, and looks like there's a bit of a gap there, but actually it kind of falls down. Actually, I kind of hold up on it there. It kind of disappears, and it's kind of hard to see, but anyways, I think it's pretty decent. And so we have it leveled back here, and I actually did notch this tube kind of where it has to sit on the weld on the frame. So I think that one's all ready. All we got to do now is the same thing for the other side. So another 12 or 14 days, we'll be back with that one. So I was just in here with the welding torch. I think that's called the torch, right? I don't know. Trying to kind of see how this is gonna go, and it's not gonna be easy, but I think I can get all of it. The very, very tip top, it's gonna be a little tough, but I'll just kind of have to, like, you know, push the weld up in there. I would like to tack it and then lower it down, but there's just, I mean, I don't think there's any way if I tack that in place that I'm gonna be able to lower it, because I mean, that's there. If I had maybe had some slots cut in the floor so the whole thing lowered like this, but I don't really want to do that. But I just wanted to be sure, again, that I could get to it, and I think if somebody knew what they were doing, they could do it. So I'll pretend, and we'll go with this. I'll get back to working on the other notch, and then we'll probably get this main hoop welded in place permanently. I'll set you guys up over here in the corner and put you on fast motion. You can kind of watch the process of how I try to figure out the notch on this other one. Then you can let me know what the easier way would have been done to do it. Second down bar is notched, and it's pretty decent. I think it's that clamp, you know, I can move it around a little bit. I can't tell what you guys can see up there, but anyways, both of the down bars are just, they're sitting in here held in place with magnets and clamps. I've done some measuring across. They're pretty darn close as far as, you know, length that way. I think they're maybe an 1/8 inch different. That one seems like it's about an 1/8 inch longer. Depends how you measure it. It seems like it's going through the package tray in the same place. But if I measure from the main hoop back, it's like an 1/8 inch further on that side than this side. So probably good enough for me. Windows are all dirty, but you can kind of see it in there, and it looks like they're mostly parallel. There's glare on the window, so it's hard to see. But anyways, I think I got them, you know, maybe not perfect, but good enough, which is what we're going for. Looks decent, looks right to me. So I'll probably do a little bit of fine tuning once I'm ready to tack them in. Like I said, I can't tack them in right here, so I'm gonna take them back out of here. I know they're pretty close to ready. I have to do a little more work in the back. I got to open up the hole a little bit, at least on that one, so I'm going to be able to weld it, and then we'll get this main hoop dropped down and weld it in place. It is an undisclosed number of days later, and I'm finally back out in the Montana garage. We had some of that bitter Montana cold for, I don't know, 3 days of negative 20-ish. So needless to say, I was not out here in the Montana garage during that time. So no progress the last few days, but let's flip you around. We'll take a quick little walk around the shop and give you an update on a couple different things. And then we'll get back to work on this roll bar. Okay, quick shop update. Roll bar is as we left it. Down bars are clamped in place. So we're ready to move them out of the way, drop this bad boy down, and finally do some welding. I was out here yesterday. I didn't get any actual work done per se, but in anticipation of doing that welding, I just fired up the welding machine, made a bunch of little tabs or whatever, and just did a bunch of practice welding. I've never welded tube before, or pipe, or whatever, tube I guess. So that's kind of tricky because you got to change the angle of the gun as you're coming around, for you guys that haven't done that, but I don't know. I am definitely not a welder per se, but I think I can do good enough to do what we got to do here. Another thing I'll update you on is the old right shoulder. Remember I fell down a couple videos ago? Yeah. Still not doing good. I finally went to the doctor. They're 99% sure it's a torn rotator cuff. They don't know for sure until I do an MRI, but doing all their pokes and prods and hold your arm this way and push against me this way, they're like, yeah, that's probably what it is. And I'm pretty sure that's what it is too. I've had the left one is torn before and I've had surgery on it. So this basically feels like the same thing. So probably gonna require surgery at some point. For now, they gave me a cortisone shot and it's kind of taking away the pain. Like I can use it a little more, but yeah, once I get above there, it's pretty painful still. So we'll see what happens there. Time will tell. And the last update is Montana Garage Swim Center is almost in full effect once again. It was a little warmer yesterday, so we got a little water coming in here. It's ice right now because it's still cold out here. It is warming up out there today, so there's a good chance we are gonna see a little more water coming in. We got all this ice out here in front of the door. It's the same all the way around the shop. So it's supposed to be 40-some degrees today. If that happens, we're probably gonna get some flooding, and I'm hoping once this kind of melts down a little bit, I actually went and bought a little pump where I can try to maybe pump some of it out over the edge over there to where it'll flow away from the shop. I don't know if it's worth trying to do that to keep up with it or not, but figured it's worth a try. So we may have to stop roll bar installation for water mitigation again later today. But let's get back to work on the roll bar in the meantime. Did I just say water mitigation? I don't even know what that means. We got the outriggers cut loose. Let's get these down bars out of the way. Now we can lower this down. In theory, looks like there must be. Well, here goes nothing. Oh shoot. My glasses are fogging over. Hold on. All right, well, I guess I'm ready to give this a go. It's nothing like being in a super comfortable position. You know, it's helpful to practice like up there on the table, but it's hard to simulate laying on your belly under the car and trying to find a way to weld the tube. So we'll see how she goes. My glasses kept fogging up, so I don't have my glasses on either. So I'm making excuses before I even start. Now this lens is fogging up. Darn it. Here we go, maybe. Oh, darn it. Well, I suppose if you know what you're doing, you can... It's so hard to stay in position. I figure it's better to start and stop than try to fight my way around it and not be in position. We'll let this cool off and hit it with a wire brush or something. We'll show you how ugly it is. It ain't that bad. How do you like my new look? Not bad, huh? Covers a little bit more of the ugly. Anyways, speaking of ugly, here we go. Here's the weld. It's just, man, I've never welded tube before, and it is not easy, but I think it's like sort of stuck together at least. All right, for the 457th time, I got the roll bar clamped in place, adjusted, moved forward, moved back, tilted, moved up, moved down, whatever I had to do 357 times. And I think I got it right where I want it again, so we'll crawl underneath, turn the welder on, give it a couple tacks on each side, and then we'll do some more pretend welding, some more amateur welding. Yeah, amateur welding. That's what we'll do, amateur welding, coming right up. Well, I don't think there's any good way for me to show this to you, because I'm going to be right in your way, but I guess I'm ready to do my first vertical down weld on this outrigger and see how that goes. Not a lot of room under here, but I'm shooting for something like this. Here we go. That was probably actually a little easier than my practice because I had this piece to lean on. Ugh. That one ain't too bad. So let's see, one more of those. It's gonna be a little tricky to get the top, but I think I can get the tip of this in there to do like half it, do the other half from the other side. And then of course we got a upside down, what are those called? Can't remember, not vertical, horizontal, overhead. We got an overhead weld here. I haven't practiced any of those, so I'll probably set something up, do a little bit of practice. And eventually we're gonna get all this welded in. Driver's side outrigger is in place. I did the overhead, I didn't practice, so I just went for it. A little, you know, a little too much buildup on that weld maybe, but it's a little tough doing overhead. I think the verticals came out pretty good, and then I just did the best I could up here on this top thing. Actually, I can't even see it, so I'm gonna look at it with the camera here and then see what it looks like. All right, on to the other side. All right, there we have it. I thought I put you guys on fast motion as I welded the second outrigger in, but apparently I put you on photo, so I took one picture of nothing. YouTube comments, thanks guys. Roll bar, or main hoop, I guess, is finally in place. Where she's gonna live, where she's gonna stay. I think it looks, you know, the part. As far as up and down and straight across, it is now home. So on to the rear down bars once again. All right, so now we'll crawl back in place and get the rear down bars or rear struts, whatever they're called, kind of back in place. I may have to do a little, you know, fine tuning now that the roll bar is in its exact home, but I think they're pretty much ready. So let's get them held up there, and then maybe we'll do some more buzzy on those and make some more sparks and get them in place. Who knows how far we'll get. All right, got everything cleaned up. Took some time, put away the hose and the pump from sucking water away from the shop. Kept up with it pretty good today. It's dark and it's getting cold again, so all that stuff's gonna freeze back up overnight. Hopefully tomorrow I can come out and find some time to suck a little more water away, and we can try to keep this place from flooding out. I did kind of clean up at least a little bit, enough to you know, make it look like not quite so much of a disaster. And then I hopped in here and we started by working on these down bars. I had to open up these holes a little bit, and then I kind of ground off the edges, so when I get ready to patch them back in, for some reason I had some filler in this corner. That corner was kind of messed up or something, but it probably won't get anything fancy like filler back in it. It'll get patched and Raptor lined and called goods. We'll get ready to throw these bars back in there and see if we got to do any fine tuning on those. So we beveled the edge of our notch here, so we got a good place to weld to. If you don't bevel them, then these points get really thin and you're just kind of welding to the really thin tube. So you want to bevel it back. I mean, this is what I learned from watching other people. Bevel it back so you get a good full thickness of the tube to weld. So hopefully that's ready to go. We may have to make some fine adjustments, but I think we should be good. And then on the other end that's going onto the frame down by the trunk, we also kind of beveled that. And then I had to kind of notch it a little bit for how it sits on the frame. And I also snuck back there and ground the epoxy primer off the top of the frame. So we're ready to throw this back in, hopefully for the last time, but we'll see. A couple minor adjustments and our notch is good as I'm gonna get it. See if you guys can see anything on that side. I can't really see from there, but I think it's pretty tight all the way around. So I guess I'm ready to get the welder back out, and we'll throw a couple tacks on there and a couple tacks down there. And then we will mess with the other bar. Ready to tack this first down bar in place. And seems like there's maybe like two schools of thought on this. Some people say kind of make your tacks at your starting and stopping points where you're going to be able to, you know, have to change position. And then other people say just make your tacks really small, and doesn't matter where they are, you just weld over them. And if they're small enough, it doesn't really make a hump. I think I'm gonna try on this first one to make my tacks really small, and then I'll weld over them. You have to change position so much to weld this tube, so I'm just gonna kind of tack top, bottom, left, and right, like north, south, east, west. I don't know, we'll see how that works. Hopefully I can make them small enough that you don't really see them later. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get a tack on the top. I'm just gonna have to force that weld up there as I can when I do it. All right. One down bar, not fully welded, but fully tacked in place. I wanted to get to the second one, but as is with life, I ran out of time. I got to get inside and do some other stuff here tonight before it's too late. So I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, and we'll get this other down bar tacked in place, and we'll get them both fully welded and move on to something else, which will probably be the back brace. See you for that tomorrow. All right, next day, and we are back in the Montana garage. 2 days in a row once again. I am on fire. Rocky Mountain Race Week, here I come. I hope. Anyways, yeah, 2 days in a row, we're not making a whole bunch of progress, but at least we're out here trying. I had to work a little bit this morning, and then I just got done sucking or pumping the water away from the outside of the shop because it's, I don't know, 35 degrees or something outside, and just warm enough to melt stuff a little bit, and I'm trying to keep the water out here. So we got that done, and now we're ready to get back in these rear down bars. All right, before we test fit this second bar, one thing I forgot to do yesterday is kind of clean the bar up. I did it with the main hoop. I didn't show you guys. I tried to show you guys, but I had some sort of filming debacle, as kind of is standard around here. But I hit the whole main hoop with like a 180, I think, on a DA, and then just a green Scotch-Brite. Just to get it all cleaned up and ready for primer and paint, so I don't have to do so much of it in the car. So I'm gonna do the same thing to the rest of the bars. If I remember, I forgot to do it on that bar, so that bar will have to be done while it's in the car. But this bar, I'll hit with the sander, the DA here. I think I got 180 on it, and then probably just kind of rough the whole thing with the Scotch-Brite, and then we'll get back to throwing it in there. Pretty. Now we just gotta find if it fits. Well, I tried the little die grinder and the wire wheel. It's kind of hard to get anything in this little hole to get this paint or primer off of the frame. So now we're using the old-fashioned sandpaper trick. Try to clean it up so we can get decent weld on there. Careful not breathing in that dust in. It's not good for you. All right. Let's try to fit this thing again. I know I said before that it was good enough, or the notch was good enough, but I ended up fudging with it a little bit, and then I actually beveled the edges. So hopefully, maybe this will be the final fit. If not, we'll keep on trying. I'm gonna go by, it looks like if I measure it with my eyeballs, it looks about the same. So I think as long as the notch fits, we will go with it. It looks good there. Gotta go out here to look at this one. Ow, watch your head. Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner. All right, let's get the welder set up. All right, gas is on. I usually forget that, but I remembered this time. Getting smarter. I got a ground. Guess we're ready to roll. Three tacks there because I can't really get to the top. I'll be able to weld it, I think. I'm just going to push that weld, and then we'll have to cheat the gun angle a little bit at the very top, but it'll get all welded. So we'll move on down here, do some tacky. Hold her down and over as far as I can, and she's on the money. I should be able to see what I'm doing. Around and try to get one more from the back. Number 2, tacked in place. I don't know if it's in the right place or not, but it's in place. So let me get this stuff cleaned out of here so I can monkey around a little bit without kneeling on every other tool I own. And then we'll get the back brace out and start head scratching on that. All right, that roll bar sure is coming along, but I gotta stop right here, right now and say thank you. Yes, you, thank you. Thank you for still being here. Thank you for watching it all, but especially for watching this far to the end of the video, because YouTube thinks that if you're watching to the end of the video, that it must be a good video, and then they show the video to more viewers, and then more viewers watch the video, and then, you know, it's one of them snowball effect things, right? Right now, my snowball is really small, so I need all the help I can get, so I really appreciate you guys still being here. So thank you. As a way of saying thank you, I have 2 special bonuses that the other viewers that left, or that aren't watching this, they're not gonna find out about these things for a while yet. The first special bonus is you guys are gonna get a sneak peek at something that everybody else isn't gonna see for probably 2 or 3 videos yet. So what is it? Well, come on in here a little closer, because like I said, this is between you and me. Not everybody knows about it. We gotta try to kind of keep it on a down low, okay? So a little closer, a little closer. All right, boom, right there. You were sneak peeking it the whole time and you didn't even know. 55 Chevy is back on the ground. We have a roller. The Quick Performance 4 9-inch has been assembled and installed, and by some miracle of God, it all fit and it all worked. And just look at it. I mean, it's beautiful. Just look at it. I just got this done like yesterday, and I can't quit looking at it. Seriously, I can't quit looking at it. I've been coming out here and just looking at it. Anyways, stop it. Stay tuned for a couple of videos coming up on that, and I'll tell you all about my 9-inch. That's a promise. Special bonus number 2 is you guys get to be the first people to hear about the new round of Montana Garage trivia. That's right, we're gonna do trivia. Ask a Montana Garage related trivia question and put the comment down below. Every correct answer gives you a chance to win. We'll do this for 3 or 4 videos, and then we'll do a live stream where you guys out there will help me pick a winner right there on the live stream. What are we gonna give away? We're gonna give away a $100 gift card to Amazon. So pretty much anything you want from Amazon up to $100 on Montana Garage just for watching and playing a little trivia. There's only one requirement. Well, I guess I can't make it a requirement. I only have one request. If you win, when you go to Amazon to spend the $100 that I'm gonna give you, go to the Montana Garage Amazon store. If you don't know how to find it, just Google Montana Garage Amazon store, or down below on every video I have links to Amazon, to products. Click one of those links and that'll take you to Amazon. You don't have to buy that product, obviously, but from there, you just search whatever product you want, and then when you make the purchase, everything you buy, I will make a little commission on. So I've been spending a ton of money on this thing lately. I'm just trying to ease the pain and stop the bleeding just a little bit. So every little bit helps. It doesn't have to be only for the $100 winner. Anytime you want something from Amazon, use one of my links. I'll make a little bit of money. Jeff Bezos has enough money. Let's spread it around a little bit. So let's start right here, right now, Montana Garage trivia question number 1. I recently did a video about Rocky Mountain Race Day registration. It's one of those things where it's kind of hard to get into. There's a bunch of people and only a few spots available, and registration opens at a certain time, and then everybody's on their keyboard and it sells out like in the first minute. I tried to get in last year and I wasn't ready, I wasn't prepared, and I did not get in. This year, I wanted to be sure to get in, so I did a few special things that morning to try to be prepared and try to be ready. So just name one thing that I did that morning to help be ready for race day registration. So if you don't know the answer, go back and watch the video. I did several things. A lot of them I really did. A couple of them I just, I did it for fun on the video, trying to have fun with you guys. I'm not sure if it worked, but you can let me know that too once you watch. Did it work? Was it silly, stupid? Anyways, let me know. And then come back here and write down one thing in the comments that I did, and that's your entry to win the $100 from Amazon. So there you go. That's it for today. We'll be back real soon to finish up the roll bar. We'll talk about the 9-inch and of course, more trivia. Thanks again. See you next time. And just look at it. I mean, it's beautiful. Just look at it. I just got this done like yesterday, and I can't quit looking at it. Seriously, I can't quit looking at it.